Hi, this is Reporter's Take. I'm Sakshi Batra and with me is my colleague Priyanka Sahay. Well, after making a dramatic comeback with improved revenues of Snapdeal, the founders Kunal, Bahl and Rohit Bansal are back in the news, and this time for setting up an investment vehicle called Untitled Capital. And Priyanka is just here to share more details and exclusive details at that on that front as well. Thanks a lot, Priyanka, for joining in. Well, what is Untitled Capital all about really?
So, as Sakshi rightly pointed out, it is indeed an investment vehicle which has been founded by Kunal Bahl and Rohit Bansal, and it's a very recent development that has happened on the website of the vehicle. It's been written that it's been established in 2019. Okay. However, as we know that early this year, a lot of investments have been made by Kunal and Rohit, both in the individual capacity, and the announcements have happened like so. So, what we can infer from that is that this establishment is a very recent development.
Yeah.
Let me also tell you that this is being done to ensure that any future investments that is going to be happening from Kunal or Rohit, which otherwise used to happen in the individual capacity as angels, will now actually be routed through this establishment, through this firm, through this vehicle. And this has been exclusively set up to ensure that any of their personal wealth is not invested in their individual capacity in any of the startups. And like that they are pretty active angel investors. They've invested in a bunch of companies, the likes of Ola, the likes of Bira 91, and much. What we get to understand is that over 70 odd investments have been done by these two founders. So as we speak right now, what we get to understand that any future investments that are going to happen from Kunal and Rohit will actually be routed through this vehicle.
Right. I'll also ask you to expound a little more on that so that all the viewers can also really understand better. We do know, just like how you also pointed out, that they have been angel investors, have already invested in about 70 firms before this. So what will the difference be after setting up this firm and then deploying these funds?
Absolutely. And it's very interesting that this is being done at this point in time when the company has actually made a huge comeback. The revenues have increased, and everywhere the two founders are being talked about. Now how it will be different is the fact that this investment, this vehicle will be utilized as making investments on behalf of the two founders.
Yeah.
Bipin Shah is the person who's actually managing the entire fund. He's been appointed as the venture manager, and he'll be spearheading all the deals on behalf of Kunal and Rohit.
Sure.
Now, this is not something new which has happened in principle. We've seen that a lot of high net individuals in the country and abroad have actually gone ahead and set up these offices to ensure that the investments actually go through these private investment funds. Now, these are not SEBI approved funds. These are not funds that will have corpuses. These will just be standalone individual organizations which will have pooled in capital from the two founders, and thereafter the money will come in the bank, and thereafter it will be invested in the startup depending on from one case to another. So that is going to be the prime difference, that instead of the two founders investing directly, this will be now going through this fund, and instead of any of the portfolio companies which so far would be having Kunal and Rohit in their cap table, now they'll be having Untitled Capital in their cap table, so as to say.
Absolutely. So let's also understand what is the benefit that these founders are wanting to gain from such an investment vehicle as well.
So, well, I've been talking to a lot of corporate lawyers and a lot of tax experts to understand. While we do not know if this specific vehicle has any tax component, tax structure, but what we get to understand that in principle such establishments are actually formed to ensure some tax benefits, and that's likely to come in this offering as well. Apart from that, even though what I have been given to understand from my sources is that currently the two founders have no plans to include any third party, any third entrepreneur or an individual to come and invest through this vehicle in any startup. In future this cannot be ruled out completely. So just in case if there's a good offer that comes up and somebody else wants to pool in their personal money along with Kunal and Rohit, they might as well can go ahead and do that.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot then, Priyanka, for sharing all those details. Well, it is an interesting development for sure, and it will be very interesting to also watch out for how this really shapes up. This definitely seems like a more structured way of investments rather than individuals actually putting up their investments in all the startups. So this space will be very interesting to watch out for in the future course as well. Thanks a lot for joining us in this edition of Reporter's Take, and do stay logged on to moneycontrol.com for more news and updates. Thanks for watching.